what am I doing here on stage? I don't normally give talks. I work behind the scenes, like a spin doctor, helping others to find their storylines, to get their presentation out there. And as you've just heard, I've been doing that for quite some time. For the last 9 years, I've been giving pitch trainings for the SpinLab, the HHL accelerator program. So, as many of you might have the luxury, the privilege of a good education, and maybe some of you might want to run an enterprise, found a startup. Maybe what I've learned during these pitch trainings might come in handy at some time. Because if you want to become an entrepreneur or run a venture, you will eventually have to ask for help, for support. And this support might come in the form of having to get on stage and give a pitch. So let me share some of the things I have learned with you. The first thing is know your audience. Who will take seats in these chairs? Probably it's going to be, if you have to do a pitch, it's going to be 3 kinds of people. It's going to be possibly partners. Partners that will help you develop your product to a level that it will actually meet the market needs. So partners are incredibly helpful for you to find out if what you have been thinking about actually works in a proper working environment. The next people might be customers. And for customers, of course, your product should be market ready. You should know what problem you will solve for them, how much price they will have to pay to you, and also how reliable your product will be. So that's the second group. The third group will be investors. And of course, they will want to know whether your product is market viable, whether you will have the right market, whether you're well positioned in the market, if there's a market at all, and what the competition is like. So and they are divided again into venture capital people who run and manage a big portfolio, and on the other hand, business angels who might have experience in the same or similar field of your business and will bring smart money to the table. And yet they might come a little closer to your business because they might interfere with your daily business. So be clear about who are you talking to? Who is your audience? Because you will have to tell your story slightly differently, put the pebbled stones of a mosaic in a slightly different pattern in order to meet their understanding. Once you know who you will be talking to, make sure to keep it simple. You're not an exam. It's not school, it's not university anymore. But you are the expert. You have been working on whatever it is your venture is about for the last couple of years. So your task in this case is to keep it simple, to really step back from what you're doing every day and get a different perspective. Sometimes it helps to simply talk to your 15-year-old neighbor or to your grandparents, because they are smart, but they know nothing about what you're doing every day. So that helps to sort of gain the distance necessary to dive into what you want to say. Of course, if your audience is somebody who is an expert in the same field, okay, you can dive deep. But even then, get a general introduction that makes it possible for people to step into your shoes to see what you want to see them. Of course, for keeping it simple, there's also a couple of things that you can use as tools. Like when you walk onto a stage, you walk, stand, talk. You get into interaction with the people. You look into the audience. You build a connection. That is essential so people can follow your line of thought. You will have to stand tall and use your voice, maybe like an opera singer. We've heard that today. Because trying to hide on stage and mumble somewhere is the most stupid place to do it, right? So be there. And once you get excited, you saw me doing that just a minute ago, breathe. The worst thing that you can do is not breathe. So breathe and breathe out, exactly. So these are the simple things that you can do, because I want you to show yourself on stage and not hide behind technicalities. Children know how to show themselves. Uninhibitedly, they just show their personality. When we grow up, we lose that because we grow up. When I work with people who've been working in big consultancies, I often see them as the perfect pitch people. They've got it all sussed. They have the perfect slides ready, slide deck ready, they know how to talk, they know what their audience wants to hear, and yet they don't come across. I don't feel them, because they could sell anything in their perfection. Technology, software, cars, fish, if it need be. But they don't come across as the person who have their heart in what they're doing. And if I take the role of an investor, of a business angel, I want to see why you will be staying with this, even if the times get rough. And times will get rough if you found a company and run a business. So I need to build the trust into you that you will stay on board even if it's going to get difficult, and not just take the next job and be gone. So dare show yourself up on stage if you want to ask for support. The next finding, the next learning is be clear on your call to action. Bite that apple. Because if you don't really tell me what you want, I can't give it to you. I can't even think about whether I can give it to you. There again, depending on your audience. If you're talking to partners, I want to get into your production line, I want to get access to your data, and I need 3 of your engineers for the next 3 weeks to test whether our product is viable for you. Okay, then I can think about it. If you're talking to customers, maybe you'll say, scan that code and do a trial run and give us your testimonial, or simply buy now, sign here, Tell me what you actually want. For investors, that might be, I want 1.5 million euros for the next 18 months to improve our product, do some marketing, conquer the Canadian market, and get break even. Try to say that out loud before you go out there and ask for it. Because for most people, it's incredibly frightening to ask for such a big sum of money. And you will have to do that, maybe. I once worked with an engineer who, during the training session, had to walk onto that improvised stage, and he was grumbling, well, I don't want to do that, I hate doing this kind of marketing stuff. And I said, all right, not at all, you can just leave, have a nice afternoon. And he said, he stalled, and said, but I need the money. I said, yeah, right. So if you want the money, you go out there. You have a very, very good reason to go out there. He went up there, and he did well. So, if you're up there, you know who you're talking to, you know what you wanted to say, you told your story according to the needs, and you had a clear call to action. Everything went well. I still want you, next learning, to manage expectations. And by that I mean manage your own expectations. Because it might well be that in a pitch session or after a pitch session, there will only be very few people coming up to you, to your booth or over coffee, wanting to talk to you. That may be great, because if these are the right kind of people who actually meet your needs and requirements, that will help you immensely. much more so than talking to 20 people who are not really interested in you and just waste your time and energy. So manage your own expectations about who you want to talk to and be clear about who you want to work with. That is the fifth and last finding I want to share with you. I want to encourage you to take your own path and do your pitch. Go out there, ask for what you need, ask for the support you require to build your venture. Be daring about it. I am not interested in perfection because for me there is no such thing. It really depends on you and your personality out there. And I want you to be daring and use the privilege of your education to actually contribute to building enterprises, to be brave and go out there and improve, contribute to the betterment of the world. That is what my need in that is. And if what I've just been sharing might help 2 or 3 of you, if ever you have the chance or the obligation to do a pitch, to do it slightly better and get what you want, then it was worthwhile for me stepping out of my comfort zone up onto the stage here. And with that, let me get back behind the scenes. Thank you very much. Pleasure.